Hi, I'm Andrea. My life took a sharp turn 5 years into my marriage with Dorian. We were the epitome of the perfect couple. Me, a teacher, and him, a manager at an energy company. Life had been fairly routine until then. However, everything changed when Dorian's dad passed away, leaving his mom, Cecilia, alone in their family house. It was then that Dorian dropped the bombshell. "Andrea, we need to talk," Dorian said abruptly one night, his tone serious enough to make me pause mid-scroll on my phone. I looked up, my heart racing. "What's up? Is everything okay?" He took a deep breath. "It's about Mom. She's alone in that old house since Dad passed. I think we should move in with her." I felt my stomach drop. "Move in with Cecilia? She and I are like oil and water, Dorian. Are you serious? You know Cecilia and I barely get along." He leaned against the kitchen counter, his expression firm. "I know, but she's my mom and she's struggling. Plus, we're just burning money on this rented apartment." I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "But this is our space, our home. Moving in with your mom is a whole different ballgame." Dorian's voice took on a pleading edge. "Please, Andrea. It's not just about the space, it's about family. Mom needs us." I bit my lip, feeling cornered. "Your mom needs us or you need your mom." He frowned. "That's not fair, Andrea. It's not like I'm asking you to live in a dump. It's a huge house, plenty of room for all of us." I crossed my arms, feeling the tension rise. "And what about our life here? Just uproot everything because Cecilia snaps her fingers." Dorian's tone heightened. "It's not like that, and you know it. I'm thinking about what's best for everyone." I shot back, "Everyone or just Cecilia?" He threw his hands up in frustration. "Can't you just try to see the bigger picture here, Andrea?" I glared at him. "I'm looking at the bigger picture, Dorian. Our life, our independence, not just playing happy families in that gloomy old house of hers." The argument went in circles, but eventually, I caved, giving in to Dorian for the sake of peace. But deep down, I dreaded every bit of it. Moving day came and it was as uncomfortable as I had imagined. Cecilia's house was this imposing old structure with rooms that echoed and a constant chill in the air. Cecilia greeted us with a stiff smile. "Welcome, welcome to my home. I expect you to respect my ways." I forced a smile, trying to keep the peace. "Of course, Cecilia. We appreciate you letting us stay." But living with Cecilia was like living with a hawk. She had a comment for everything. "Don't put the dishes away like that," or "You're overwatering the plants." It was relentless. One night, after a particularly harsh critique on my cooking, I exploded to Dorian in our room. "I can't do a damn thing right for your mother. It's like living with a drill sergeant." Dorian rubbed his temples, looking equally frustrated. "Andrea, just give it time. She's old and set in her ways." I threw my hands up. "Great, so we just tiptoe around her till the end of time." He didn't have an answer, and honestly, neither did I. This house, with its constant surveillance and Cecilia's scrutinizing eyes, was suffocating. Life in Cecilia's house was turning into a daily grind. Just when I thought I could handle it, Dorian dropped another bombshell. It was a lazy Sunday afternoon, and I was trying to find some peace in the garden when he came out. "Andrea, we need to talk," Dorian said, leaning on the garden gate. I looked up, feeling a knot in my stomach. "What now, Dorian?" He took a deep breath. "I think you should quit your job and stay home. We're spending a fortune on a nurse and housekeeper for Mom. It makes more sense." I stood up, anger rising. "Quit my job, Dorian. I love teaching. It's not just about the money." He ran his hand through his hair, his tone getting edgy. "I know, but think about it. It'll make things easier around here." I shook my head, disbelief washing over me. "So what, I just become a full-time maid and nurse? That's not the life I want." Dorian's voice rose. "It's not about what we want, Andrea. It's about what's practical. My mom needs us." I glared at him. "No, your mom needs you. I didn't sign up to be her caretaker." He shot back, "Well, things change, Andrea. We need to adapt." Adapt. That word felt like a slap. I loved my job, my independence. This wasn't adapting. This was sacrificing. "You know what, Dorian? Fine, I'll do it, but don't expect me to be happy about it." He sighed, a look of relief crossing his face. "Thank you, Andrea. It means a lot." But it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like I was losing a part of myself. Quitting my job was hard, but the days that followed were harder. I was now a full-time housekeeper, nurse and cook. Cecilia, as always, had her 2 cents to add about everything. "Those curtains need a wash," she'd say, or "the soup is too salty." It was endless. One day, I snapped. Cecilia was criticizing the way I ironed her clothes, and I couldn't take it anymore. "Cecilia, can you just stop? I'm doing my best here." She looked taken aback. "Well, I'm sorry if I have standards, Andrea." I slammed the iron down, my voice trembling with frustration. "I'm not your servant, Cecilia. I'm your son's wife. I'm here trying to help, and all you do is criticize me." There was a moment of tense silence, and then Cecilia's expression softened slightly. "I know you're trying, Andrea. I'm just used to things a certain way." I sighed, feeling the tension drain out of me. "I know, Cecilia, but I'm not you. I have my way of doing things." From that day on, things were slightly better. Cecilia toned down her criticisms, and I tried to accommodate her. It was a fragile truce, but it was better than the constant battles. As time dragged on in Cecilia's house, the atmosphere grew denser, almost suffocating. Dorian's behavior became increasingly distant and elusive. He was always late from work, and when he was home, he might as well have been invisible, retreating to the spare room as if it were his sanctuary. One evening, unable to bear the silence and distance anymore, I cornered him in the kitchen. "Dorian, what's going on with you? You're hardly here, and when you are, it's like you're not even my husband anymore." He avoided eye contact, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. "Work's a nightmare right now, Andrea. Just piles of stress." I leaned back against the counter, my arms folded. "I get stressed, Dorian, but this feels like you're shutting me out. You're here, but you're not really here." He exhaled heavily, his gaze still fixed on his coffee. "I don't know what you want me to say, Andrea. I'm just really tied up with stuff." I wanted to believe him, to understand, but something inside me screamed that there was more to it. Then there was Jessica, Dorian's sister, who made it her mission to add to the tension. Each visit from her was a trial. She'd look around the house with a sneer and quip, "Still stuck in this old dumb puh." I usually bit my tongue, but one day her taunts hit a nerve. "Not all of us have the luxury to mooch off others, Jessica." I shot back. She just chuckled, her voice grating on my nerves. "Oh, look at you, playing the maid in a haunted house. Pathetic." I clenched my jaw, holding back a barrage of words. Dorian, ever the silent bystander, offered no defense. His silence was like another jab, another confirmation of the growing gulf between us. The biggest shift, however, came with Cecilia. One day, she called for Jessica, her voice frail and desperate. "Jessica, I need help with a bath. I can't manage on my own anymore." Jessica's response was cold and cutting. "Help yourself, Mom. I'm not your caretaker." Cecilia broke down in tears, and my heart couldn't take it. Despite our rocky history, I couldn't leave her in that state. I assisted her with a bath, and something shifted between us that day. Cecilia began to warm up to me, treating me less like an intruder and more like a daughter. It was a welcome change, but it also underscored how far Dorian and I had drifted apart. The house felt colder, emptier, despite Cecilia's newfound warmth towards me. The walls seemed to echo with a growing silence between Dorian and me, a chasm widening with each passing day. The chill in our home grew more pronounced each day. Dorian's late nights at work became the norm, and our conversations turned into mere whispers of their former selves. It was during one of these fleeting interactions that Dorian dropped a bombshell that would add to the growing pile of secrets and lies. "Andrea, I got an apartment near work, for those nights when it's just too late to drive back." His words hung in the air, heavy and suspicious. "An apartment? Since when? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I demanded, trying to mask the hurt and mistrust in my voice. He shrugged, avoiding eye contact. "Just a few weeks ago. Didn't want to worry you." I wanted to scream to confront him about all the pent-up suspicions and doubts swirling in my mind. But instead, I retreated into a tense silence, wondering how many more secrets Dorian was hiding from me. Amidst the mounting tension with Dorian, a sudden change in Cecilia's behavior threw another wrench into our already strained life. One morning, while making her breakfast, she looked up at me with a bewildered expression. "Where am I? Who are you?" My heart sank. "Cecilia, it's me, Andrea, your daughter-in-law. You're home." Her eyes darted around the room, panic setting in. "I don't recognize this place. I want to go home." The days that followed were a whirlwind of doctor's appointments and tests. The diagnosis hit hard. Cecilia had early-stage dementia. As I absorbed the news, I couldn't help but feel a heavy weight settle on my shoulders. This could change everything again. Dorian's response was a mixture of denial and avoidance. "It's not that bad, Andrea. We can manage it." I glared at him, frustration bubbling over. "Not that bad. Dorian, she doesn't even recognize me half the time." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "What do you want me to do, Andrea? Quit my job? Spend every waking minute here?" I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "I want you to be present, Dorian, to face this with me, not hide behind your work or your excuses." But Dorian's absence only grew more pronounced. It was clear that he couldn't or wouldn't handle the reality of his mother's condition. I was left to navigate the challenges of caring for Cecilia alone, feeling more like a caretaker and less like a wife with each passing day. As I tried to come to terms with Cecilia's dementia and Dorian's increasing distance, my suspicions about his so-called late nights grew stronger. One evening, after another terse conversation with Dorian, I decided to follow him to his new apartment. What I discovered shattered what little trust remained between us. He wasn't alone. Through the window, I saw him with another woman, their intimate interaction confirming my worst fears. Heartbroken, I confronted him later that night. "Dorian, are you having an affair?" I asked, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and sadness. His face went pale, and for a moment he was at a loss for words. "Andrea, I can explain." But there was nothing he could say that would make it right. The betrayal cut deep, adding another layer of pain to an already unbearable situation. In the weeks that followed, I focused on caring for Cecilia, finding some solace in the fragile bond we had formed. But the cracks in my marriage were too deep to ignore. One night, as I helped Cecilia to bed, she looked at me with surprising clarity and said, "You deserve better, Andrea." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. I knew she was right. I had given up so much, sacrificed my independence, my career, and my happiness, all for a man who no longer valued our relationship. It was time to reclaim my life. With a heavy heart, I packed my bags and left Cecilia's house. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but also the most necessary. Dorian's betrayal had been the final straw, and I needed to find myself again, away from the suffocating environment of Cecilia's house and the broken remnants of my marriage. Starting over wasn't easy. I found a small apartment and began rebuilding my life, piece by piece. I returned to teaching, finding joy in my work once more. The pain of Dorian's betrayal lingered, but with each passing day, I felt a little stronger, a little more like myself. Cecilia's condition continued to decline, and I visited her whenever I could. Despite everything, she had become like family to me, and I couldn't abandon her entirely. During one of my visits, she looked at me with a mix of gratitude and sadness. "I'm sorry for everything, Andrea. I squeezed her hand, feeling a lump in my throat. "It's okay, Cecilia. I understand." In the end, I found strength in the most unexpected places. Through the trials and tribulations, I discovered a resilience within myself that I never knew existed. My life had taken a sharp turn, but I was determined to navigate the twists and turns, emerging stronger and more self-assured on the other side. Rebuilding my life was a journey filled with ups and downs. Moving into my new apartment marked the beginning of my path to healing and rediscovery. Initially, I felt lost, haunted by the memories of my marriage and the turbulent times at Cecilia's house. But gradually, I began to find solace in my independence. Teaching became my refuge. My students' enthusiasm and curiosity provided a refreshing contrast to the heaviness that had clouded my life. I poured my heart into my work, finding joy in their progress and their laughter. It was through these small moments of happiness that I started to reclaim my sense of self. One day, as I was grading papers in the quiet of my new apartment, there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find Jessica standing there, looking unusually contrite. "Andrea, can we talk?" she asked, her voice softer than I had ever heard it. I hesitated but eventually nodded. We sat down, and she began to speak. "I know I haven't been kind to you. I've been jealous, bitter, but I see now what you've been through, and I'm sorry." Her apology took me by surprise. For so long, Jessica had been a source of friction, her sharp comments and dismissive attitude making my life even more difficult. But now, seeing the sincerity in her eyes, I felt a sense of relief. "Thank you, Jessica. That means a lot," I replied. Our conversation continued, revealing sides of Jessica that I had never seen before. She confessed her struggles, her own insecurities, and the reasons behind her harsh behavior. It was a healing moment for both of us, allowing us to move past old grievances and find common ground. As time went on, I continued to visit Cecilia. Despite her declining condition, she often showed moments of surprising clarity. During one visit, she held my hand tightly and said, "You brought light into this house, Andrea. Thank you." Those words stayed with me, a reminder of the impact I had made even in difficult circumstances. I knew that leaving Cecilia's house was the right decision for my own well-being, but maintaining our connection was important to me. One afternoon, while walking through a nearby park, I ran into an old friend from college, Emma. We hadn't seen each other in years, and catching up felt like a breath of fresh air. Emma had always been a source of positivity and encouragement, and reconnecting with her was a blessing. We started meeting regularly, sharing our life experiences and supporting each other. Emma encouraged me to explore new hobbies and interests, something I hadn't done in a long time. With her support, I enrolled in a pottery class and rediscovered a passion for creating art with my hands. It was therapeutic, providing a new outlet for my emotions and creativity. Gradually, I built a new network of friends and found a renewed sense of purpose. The loneliness that had once engulfed me began to fade, replaced by a vibrant community of people who appreciated and supported me. I started to feel a sense of belonging that I hadn't felt in years. Through all these changes, I also focused on my own well-being. I started practicing yoga and meditation, activities that helped me center myself and find inner peace. I realized that taking care of my mental and physical health was crucial in my journey to healing. One evening, as I sat on my apartment balcony watching the sunset, I reflected on everything that had happened. The pain of Dorian's betrayal still lingered, but it no longer defined me. I had found strength in myself, in my friendships, and in the new life I was building. Just as I was beginning to feel content with my new life, an unexpected letter arrived in the mail. It was from Dorian. My hands trembled as I opened it, uncertain about what he could possibly have to say. "Andrea," the letter began, "I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but I need to explain myself. I've made countless mistakes, and I regret the pain I've caused you. When you left, I realized how much I had taken you for granted. I miss you, and I hope we can talk. Please give me a chance to make things right. Dorian." I sat with the letter for a long time, emotions swirling inside me. Anger, sadness, confusion, but also a small glimmer of curiosity. Despite everything, part of me wanted closure. After much contemplation, I decided to meet Dorian. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe we used to frequent. As I walked in, I saw him sitting at a corner table, looking older and wearier than I remembered. "Andrea," he said softly as I sat down. "Thank you for coming." I nodded, unsure of what to say. He looked at me with a mixture of guilt and hope. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed to tell you how sorry I am." I was scared and weak, and I took the easy way out instead of facing our problems. I've been seeing a therapist, trying to understand my mistakes and become a better person. His words hung in the air, and I could see the sincerity in his eyes. "Dorian," I began, "I appreciate your apology, but a lot has happened. I'm not the same person I was. I found strength and independence, and I won't go back to the way things were." He nodded, looking down at his hands. "I understand. I just hope we can find some way to move forward, even if it's just as friends." As we talked, I realized that while I couldn't forget the past, I could choose how it influenced my future. Forgiving Dorian didn't mean I had to let him back into my life the same way. It meant letting go of the anger and allowing myself to fully heal. In the end, we parted on amicable terms. I left the cafe feeling lighter, knowing that I had faced my past and could now look towards the future with hope and confidence. Life continued to unfold in beautiful and unexpected ways. I immersed myself in teaching, pottery, and the new friendships I have formed. I traveled, explored new places, and embraced every opportunity for growth and happiness. Cecilia passed away peacefully a few months later, and her loss was felt deeply. At her funeral, Dorian and I shared a moment of remembrance, honoring the woman who had brought us together and in many ways had been a catalyst for my transformation. Standing there, I felt a sense of closure. My journey had been tumultuous, filled with heartache and challenges, but it had also been a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. I had learned to navigate life's twists and turns, emerging stronger and more resilient. As I moved forward, I carried with me the lessons of the past and the promise of a future shaped by my own choices. I was no longer defined by my circumstances, but by the strength and courage I had found within myself. And with that, I embraced the new chapter of my life with an open heart and a spirit ready for whatever came next. With each passing day, I felt more grounded in my new life. The pain of the past became a distant echo, a reminder of how far I had come. My friendships flourished, and I found joy in the little things. The warmth of the sun on my face, the laughter of my students, the satisfaction of creating something beautiful with my hands. One day, while walking through the park, I met someone new. His name was Alex, and he was sitting on a bench, engrossed in a book. As I walked by, a gust of wind blew the pages, and he looked up, catching my eye. There was something kind and genuine in his smile. "Looks like the wind has other plans for your book," I said, smiling back. He laughed. "Yeah, it seems so. I'm Alex, by the way." "I'm Andrea," I replied, feeling a spark of connection. We began talking, and our conversation flowed effortlessly. Alex was a writer, passionate about storytelling and capturing the beauty of everyday life. We discovered we had a lot in common, from our love of literature to our appreciation for nature. Over the next few weeks, we started meeting regularly, sharing stories and experiences. Alex's presence was comforting and uplifting, a reminder that new beginnings were possible. He encouraged me to write, to put my own story into words. Inspired by Alex, I started journaling again, capturing my journey of healing and growth. Writing became a therapeutic outlet, helping me process my emotions and gain clarity. I even began working on a memoir, a project that allowed me to reflect on my past and celebrate my resilience. As my relationship with Alex deepened, I felt a sense of companionship I hadn't experienced in a long time. He respected my independence and supported my dreams, and in turn, I found myself opening up to new possibilities. One evening, we decided to go on a hike together. The trail led to a beautiful overlook where the sunset painted the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink. As we stood there, taking in the breathtaking view, Alex turned to me. "Andrea, I've been thinking about us a lot," he said softly. "I've seen how strong and amazing you are, and I want to be a part of your journey, wherever it leads." His words touched my heart. "Alex, you've brought so much light into my life. I'm grateful for every moment we've shared. I want to explore this path with you too." Our relationship blossomed, built on mutual respect and a deep understanding of each other's journeys. We supported each other through challenges and celebrated each other's successes. With Alex, I found a love that was nurturing and empowering. Meanwhile, my career continued to thrive. I received recognition for my dedication to teaching, and my memoir began to take shape. Sharing my story with the world felt like a way to honor my past and inspire others who might be going through similar struggles. One day, as I was wrapping up a pottery class, I received a call from a literary agent who had read a draft of my memoir. "Andrea, your story is powerful and beautifully written. I believe it has the potential to reach and help many people. I'd love to represent you and get this published." The news was exhilarating. It felt like everything I had been through, all the pain and growth, had led to this moment. I signed with the agent, and soon, my memoir was on its way to becoming a published book. As the publication date approached, I reflected on the incredible journey I had undertaken. From the depths of despair to the heights of personal and professional fulfillment, I had transformed my life in ways I never imagined possible. The day my book was released was one of the proudest moments of my life. Friends, family, and colleagues gathered for the launch event, celebrating my achievement. Even Jessica, with whom I had reconciled, was there, offering her heartfelt congratulations. Standing in front of the crowd, I felt a surge of gratitude and accomplishment. "This book is not just my story," I said, my voice steady and clear. "It's a testament to the strength and resilience we all have within us. No matter how difficult our circumstances, we can find our way to a brighter, more fulfilling future." The applause that followed was overwhelming, and I knew that this was just the beginning. My journey of healing and self-discovery would continue, with new challenges and joys along the way. With Alex by my side, a fulfilling career, and a newfound sense of purpose, I embraced the future with hope and confidence. Life had taught me that even in the darkest times, there is always a path to light and renewal, and I was ready to walk that path, one step at a time, with an open heart and a spirit full of possibilities. The success of my memoir opened doors I had never dreamed of. I was invited to speak at various events, sharing my story and insights on resilience, healing, and the power of personal transformation. Each speaking engagement was an opportunity to connect with others who were on their own journeys, and I found immense fulfillment in being able to inspire and uplift them. One evening, after a particularly moving talk at a women's conference, I received an email from a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting survivors of domestic violence. They wanted me to join their board of directors and help shape their programs and outreach efforts. I was deeply honored and excited to contribute in such a meaningful way. Joining the board allowed me to merge my personal experiences with my professional skills, advocating for policies and resources that would empower survivors to rebuild their lives. It was demanding work, but knowing that I was making a tangible difference in the lives of others was incredibly rewarding. As the years passed, my relationship with Alex continued to flourish. We traveled together, exploring new places and cultures, always finding inspiration in the world around us. Our bond grew stronger with each adventure, and we cherished the life we were building together. One sunny afternoon, while hiking our favorite trail, Alex paused at the overlook where we had shared our first deep conversation. He turned to me with a look of love and determination. "Andrea," he began, taking my hands in his. "These past few years with you have been the most beautiful and transformative of my life. You've shown me what true strength and love are, and I can't imagine my future without you. Will you marry me?" Tears of joy filled my eyes as I nodded, unable to find the words to express the depth of my feelings. Yes, Alex. 1,000 times yes. Our wedding was a celebration of love, resilience, and new beginnings. Surrounded by family and friends, we exchanged vows under a canopy of flowers, promising to support and cherish each other through all of life's ups and downs. It was a day filled with laughter, tears, and heartfelt moments that we would treasure forever. In the years that followed, we continued to grow both individually and as a couple. My work with the nonprofit expanded, and I took on a more active role in shaping national policies to support survivors of domestic violence. Alex's writing career also flourished, and we often collaborated on projects that combined our passions for storytelling and advocacy. One day, while reflecting on our journey, I realized how far I had come from that dark period in my life. I had transformed my pain into purpose, finding strength and fulfillment in ways I never imagined. The support of my loved ones, especially Alex, had been instrumental in my healing, but ultimately, it was my own determination and resilience that had carried me through. I decided to start a new initiative, a retreat center for survivors of domestic violence. Nestled in a serene location, it would offer a safe space for healing, creativity, and personal growth. The center would provide workshops, counseling, and holistic therapies, helping individuals rebuild their lives and discover their inner strength. The launch of the retreat center was another milestone in my journey. Watching the first group of participants arrive, I felt a profound sense of gratitude and accomplishment. This center was a testament to the power of healing and the possibility of new beginnings. As I stood at the entrance, welcoming the participants, I felt a familiar hand slip into mine. Alex stood beside me, his eyes filled with pride and love. "We did it, Andrea," he said softly. "You've created something truly amazing." I smiled, feeling the warmth of his words. We did it together. And this is just the beginning. Together, we continued to build a life filled with love, purpose, and endless possibilities. The future was bright, and I was ready to embrace it with an open heart, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, I had the strength and resilience to overcome them. And so, my journey came full circle, from the depths of despair to the heights of joy and fulfillment. I had found my path, my purpose, and my love. And with each new day, I was reminded that no matter how dark the night, the dawn always brings a new beginning. The moral of this story is one of resilience, transformation, and the power of love and support. It emphasizes several key themes: healing and growth. No matter how difficult or traumatic one's past may be, it is possible to heal, grow, and build a fulfilling future. Personal strength and determination play crucial roles in this process. Support systems. The support and love of others, friends, family, and partners are invaluable in overcoming hardships and finding the strength to move forward. Purpose from pain. Challenging and painful experiences can be transformed into a purpose that not only heals the individual, but also helps others who are facing similar struggles. New beginnings. Life is full of opportunities for new beginnings and second chances. Embracing these opportunities can lead to unexpected joy and fulfillment. Empowerment. Empowering oneself and others through advocacy, support, and community building can create lasting, positive change and contribute to a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Overall, the story encourages resilience, the importance of supportive relationships, and the transformative power of turning personal challenges into opportunities for growth and contribution.